Hi everyone, today I'll be doing a speech on a time I learned a huge lesson. Throughout my life I've made many mistakes, but there's one that was life-changing for me and that I'll never forget that experience. When I was a freshman in high school, I hung out with a small group of girls that I like to call my best friends. We trusted each other and did almost everything together. Growing up together, we had very adventurous childhoods, but we didn't always seem to make the best choices. We ran around neighborhoods together, and we liked to toilet paper and ding-dong ditch people's houses. Most kids at that age would be watching movies, but we decided to make poor choices. We thought that was the best way to have fun. One weekday, two of my best friends gave me a call and asked if I wanted to join them in a joyride in one of their parents' trucks. Not even considering the consequences, I happily said yes, and they were on their way to pick me up. Waiting for a few short minutes, my two 14-year-old best friends come flying down my street to pick me up. None of my parents were home at the time, otherwise this wouldn't have even been considered. But they weren't home, so I hopped in and was ready for the ride. I always wondered what it was like to drive, so we ended up taking turns behind the wheel. The way my friends were driving out of control, I knew it was dangerous, but I still went along with it because we were laughing and having fun. When it was my turn to drive, I remember feeling really nervous, but at the same time really excited because I've never been behind a wheel before. It was my first time driving. I took my driving a little more serious than the rest of my friends because I knew that it wasn't really safe the way they were driving, but unfortunately, I wasn't paying enough attention to my speed at the time. All of a sudden, sirens and lights are starting to go off, and I pull over scared. I didn't know what to think, what to do, or what was about to happen to us. After a very intimidating talk with the police officer, me and my 14-year-old two best friends get handcuffed and taken downtown to a police station where we are fingerprinted and thrown into holding cells for about 5 hours. Next thing you know, we think we're getting let off, but we are taken into juvenile where we are stuck for the whole weekend. A lot of thoughts were going through my head, but the most thing I was concerned about was why were we in so much trouble for driving a car. For 3 total days, I had to sit in juvenile. I did nothing but think about my actions and how disappointed my parents were in me. I'd never been in trouble with the law before, so my parents were very shocked about what happened. They'd never been so disappointed in me ever. The memory that I remember the most is the day I got to go to court, and for some reason I was shackled up and I felt like a terrible person. I just thought over and over again how sorry I was that I made such a stupid mistake, and I would never do anything like it ever again. The judge made it very clear to me that he didn't ever want to see me in his courtroom ever again. So I was very scared to make a mistake, and I took that into consideration throughout the rest of my life. He ended up letting me go with a speeding ticket and a charge for OMVWOC, which stands for operating motor vehicle without the owner's consent. Another punishment I received was 3 hard months of home detention. I had to do 24 hours of community service, and also the worst part about it was I was suspended for 6 of my volleyball games at the time, which was a sport I played during the winter, and it was my favorite sport, so it was the most upsetting to me. During those 3 months is when I learned my lesson the most, because I realized how much I hurt my family and that I needed to change the way I was making choices. Since then, I think about the consequences before I just do something. Thanks everybody for listening to my speech.
Wonderful.